Good morning, good morning, good morning. How you doing? How's everybody doing? Yo, welcome in, Dark. What up, RG? I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Good to see you in here so early. We are gonna do a little bit of a different format, and we're gonna do a little bit of a different format. So I've got today's a little bit smaller of a stream because I've got a doctor's appointment in a couple of hours. But what I'm gonna start doing is a probably probably do like a react video at the beginning just to get myself warmed up. It's still bright and early in the morning. See you later, Dark. Have a good day. Appreciate you popping in nonetheless. And and then and then we'll get right into games afterwards. I think that's going to be a good warm up because you have to think too when we look at everything from a content perspective, is I still need to be able to push myself out to a lot of people when I'm not on stream. And so I think having a variety, yeah, having a variety of things is the route we're gonna go. So I've it helps me release some content too as we go through. So we're gonna start with what we normally start with, which is just like a little bit of reflection period, and in the day. Then we'll move into a video that I've got queued up, which is reacting to the $1.7 trillion car loan debt crisis. What happened? Yo, what up, Chase? How you doing, bro? And then we're gonna move into either, which I'm gonna maybe either flip a coin, um, or just see what my feeling is. We're gonna move into either CS or PUBG, and then I have to wrap up by 9:30 Eastern today just to go to a doctor's appointment. So we've got a good couple of hours. I'm doing well, doing well. We got the stream looking good. We've got some content ready. We dropped some videos on Monday. We dropped one yesterday on YouTube. We'll drop one today. The last two were React videos. And then yesterday, or today's will be Counter-Strike. What do you mean what happened, RG? What happened to what? What are you talking about? I'm not following. So, I'm feeling pretty good. A little bit of reflection period for today. I'm feeling grateful for just the opportunity to be here, to be honest. I'm excited about it. Where my mind's been at lately, just to give you all some insights, is this office space. My mind has been in this office space, and I'll get to you in just a second on that, RG. My mind has been in this office space on it's a little it's a good size, but I'm actually going to be deploying a stream PC in here, and I'm reworking what it looks like in the physical room. And I have a massive desk. My desk is an L desk, and it's 6.5 feet wide. And then when you go as an L, it's still 6.5 feet wide. The corner makes up, it's a shorter on this side, but the corner makes up another 6.5 feet. So um, it's just gonna take some configuration, and it's standing, it's rising. So I have this huge Fantex glass case that's super heavy, and I can't put another PC on the desk. It'll overload the weight, or else it won't be able to stand up anymore. So I'm trying to figure out. I don't want to put it on the floor because, um, yeah, 100%. That's literally it, RG. Two basketball average players equals sim desk. That's 100%, bro. That's 100%. And um, it and the countertops are made out of walnut. My grandpa actually chopped down, I kid you not, my grandpa on our family farm chopped down um, chopped down this tree and then made the wood tops for me. Like I kid you not. I will have these for forever. Um, for a request, can I do a post about myself? What kind of post? And what's the doctor's appointment thing? Oh, it's just I see a therapist every month, just recurring. And nothing's wrong. Everything's good. I just see one because I think that, when things are going well, you might as well just sustain it. And so I just continue to see one. It's always good to have a third party outlet too. So that's my doctor's appointment. Just happened to land on today. Um, yeah, I'm just really appreciative to be here. Let's look at, hold on one second. Before I transition to show you my screen. Um, okay. So I usually like to bring up like verse of the day, but let's see if this is speaking to us before I broadcast. It's so interesting. Some of these haven't updated. I feel like I don't want to like say I cherry pick from the Bible, but I feel like as you read, you need to have something that speaks to you in the morning. And I will just say this part right here. This verse that I'm looking at, what time is it in Central? 6:30. So 2 hours till my appointment. 2 hours till I have to leave for my appointment. I will just say that this one right here, as you read through again, the reflection is can be whatever it is on your end. If you don't believe in God, if you just want to, whatever you believe in, either ask what it is that you want in life or be thankful for what you have. I just this is speaking to me right now. We too may live a new life. I feel like I'm trying to get rid of the old of caring what people think about me in terms and move into a space where I'm chasing my actual dreams and desires, and that's what we're doing here. 100%. That's what we're doing here. All right, let's get into this video because as you can see up here at the top, I've got a lot. And I'm going to be reacting to these because these seem very interesting to me. We're going to do one today, I think. Um, one today. So I'm just gonna walk you through though where my headspace has been at lately because I think looking at some of these, like this one, for example, Hitler's Insane Train, would love to see that. Don't know anything about this. I've never even watched this, but it's 3.38 million subscribers from Fern. We're definitely gonna check that out. That looks awesome. Um, Inside, you can't see this. I already clicked on the play. I'll just mute it here for a second. This is inside Air Force One during 9/11. That's going to be really interesting. Like, that's going to be really interesting. Okay, the next one we've got queued here is how a CIA base works. Fern, 5.8 million views 11 months ago. I might even watch that one right now. That seems really interesting. And then try not to laugh. Um, I'll try not to laugh at some of the serious ones. This one, interesting. 850 million users on Snapchat, zero profits, the silent death. Well, it's crazy. It's like Snapchat's paying creators now like sometimes 100 grand a month. I don't know how they're doing it. And then this one's super interesting to me. The 1.7 trillion dollar car loan debt crisis, what happened? And then lastly, Southwest 25 billion dollar airline disaster, what happened? So I kind of fell down the rabbit hole of this logically answered YouTube page. They have some really good stuff. You can kind of see they reuse their thumbnails, but who doesn't do that? Like every video I've watched is very good, and clearly they're using what they do is working. Um, so you feel like you're having some news channel. I'm not trying to be the news channel. I'm just trying to change up what I do here a little bit, and I think it's gonna give us some variety. So, RG, I'm gonna let you pick. I'm gonna give you between these. I'm feeling how a CIA base works. Yeah, their thumbnail quality is good. Or the 1.7 trillion dollar car loan debt. What are you feeling between those two? I'll let you make the final call. CIA, love it. I was kind of feeling this one too, so I'm glad we're on the same page. All right, now let me know if the volume needs to go up on your end at all. I've been adjusting here and there, so you just let me know, and I'll be attentive to chat over there. Here we go. Here we go. How a CIA base works, and How do CIA bases operate on foreign soil? Where are they concealed, and what occurs to them? What occurs? Oh my gosh. Let's start over, huh? It's an early morning. How do CIA bases operate on foreign soil? Where are they concealed, and what occurs inside them? Yeah, I'm into military stuff too, which is why I've kind of fallen down the Hitler rabbit. Yo, bro, if you're into military stuff, um, go to. Hold on one second. Hold on. Let me pull this up for you. If you're into military stuff, one second. I thought this video was really interesting. This channel literally has 4 videos right here. This channel has 4 videos. 2.6 million, 2.5 million, 4.8 million, almost 700,000. Check these out. I really liked this Auschwitz video, and I really liked the Fuhrer bunker video inside the last 48 hours. These were really, really good. These are really good. So definitely check those out. I'm into history stuff too. I don't know a lot, which is why I think reacting is fun and good to it because I'm like, whoa, I feel like I just learned a whole bunch. Yo, welcome in, Funny. How you doing, bro? We're gonna watch this video, how a CIA base works. Here we go.
Jane Smith is sitting on a Lufthansa machine bound to Frankfurt, Germany. She empties her second glass of red wine and fastens her seatbelt because the plane is about to land. When Jane exits the aircraft, she goes straight to customs. She shows the officer her American passport. It's black.
By the way, before we dive in really, really deep into this, I love when they bring you into these perspectives because you're not seeing real people, but you're seeing like it, that could be you. They allow you to bring yourself into that picture. I love that.
Goes straight to customs. She shows the officer her American passport. It's black. Why are you here? The officer asks. Supporting technical consultations at the consulate, Jane responds. The officer stamps her passport, and she passes through. Jane grabs some euros from an ATM, takes a cab to a nearby hotel, and checks in.
I think a black passport
Jane lied
is diplomatic immunity. I think so.
A little just now, during the customs check. She is not working for a consulate, and despite her passport, she is no diplomat.
Yep.
Jane is a CIA agent, a hacker. She is visiting a covert base of her agency, secretly set up within the American consulate in Frankfurt. But this base, in the heart of Europe, is just one of a giant network spanning all across the globe. What are their functions? And how do these bases operate on foreign territory?
CIA's global hacking program.
Spy stations, Methoden der CIA.
What are the Americans doing here?
You think the CIA equals the KGB? That's a I honestly don't think that's a hot take. I think that there's probably a lot of things that align, but I'm an American and I would not compare those two. I mean, working in the shadows, etc., but I don't know. These things popping up in the National Geography channel are the greatest thing to watch. 100%. I don't think that's a hot take, Funny. I don't know if I can fully agree with it. I want to say that as an American, there's some ethical differences, right? Like, and maybe it's not even in the unit themselves, but from the country backing them. I want to say there's some ethical differences.
Jane enters the hotel room and drops off her bags. She was prepared for this trip. She's been given instructions on how to get around in Frankfurt. Stores are closed on Sunday, gas stations are not a good place for fine dining, stuff like that. We all know this thanks to the extensive leaks called Vault 7 from a few years back. Generally, this video largely relies on leaked information and statements of retired agents. It was a 9-hour flight from Washington, D.C. to Frankfurt. Jane is pretty exhausted and takes a shower. She is very careful not to leave anything that could identify her unattended. She takes her phone and laptop with her to the bathroom. Freshly dressed, Jane takes the U5 subway towards Pollingesheim.
That's crazy. Wait, think about that. These people are so well trained that when they go to a hotel in another country and they need to shower, change, do anything, and they're taking their computer every room they go. like, oh, it's not in the next room. Like, they have eyes on the entire time. I wouldn't even be surprised if they've got soap in their eyes and they've got eyes on.
He gets off at Gießnerstrasse, just a few hundred meters
Because
north from
that's
the
what they're going to
castle.
be questioned, right? They're going to be questioned. Do when were you not with it? And you're going to be like, well, when I was in the shower. It's like, well, why? You know, like if something goes wrong, those are the questions they're going to have to answer for.
Frankfurt hosts the largest U.S. consulate in the world. Officially, it is serving American residents in the region, but in truth, it is doing much more than that.
Well
At the
disciplined.
main gate, Jane
Yep,
shows her
absolutely.
black passport and is handed a yellow visitor's badge. She follows the signs to the employee entrance alongside the consulate building on the left. Jane holds up her yellow badge at the door and is buzzed into the building by a guard. Inside the building, Jane walks through a number of corridors and through a large heavy door to post 1. A U.S. Marine is waiting behind a glass window. Jane gives her the yellow badge and she gets a blue one instead. Jane can finally enter her new office and get to work. She calls her person of contact and gets to know the other agents at the station. In 2013, news broke that the US spied on then German Chancellor Angela Merkel's private phone
I do, David.
for
Welcome
over 10
in.
years.
The NSA may have been spying on Chancellor Angela Merkel.
A spokesman for the German leader described the idea.
If you don't think the USA isn't spying on everybody, like they're spying on us, we're spying on them. It's all happening. It's just whether it's happening publicly or not. It's all happening. 100%. Do I like the X-Files series? I don't know if I've watched that. I don't know if I've watched the X-Files series. Bro, David, I remember that. You were waiting on that shipment to come in. Congratulations, my guy. Get that PC built, baby.
As
totally unacceptable.
The operation was run by the so-called Special Collection Service, a spy unit of the NSA and CIA. Officially, it does not exist. Unofficially, it is running spy operations from almost 100 US embassies
Peace
all
out,
across
David.
the world, including Frankfurt. But
Have a good
Jane
day.
works for another unit here. She works for the European branch of the Center for Cyber Intelligence, the CIA's hacking division. Jane and others are developing cyber weapons. There are over 1,000 hacking systems and several hundred million lines of code in the CIA's arsenal. Some of these hacking tools are extremely powerful. The CIA could turn devices from Apple, Google, Samsung, and many others into secret microphones.
Oh,
There
yeah.
are tools that bypass encryption from messengers like WhatsApp, Signal, or Telegram, allowing the agency to collect text and voice messages.
Oh,
But
yeah.
There are also attack systems like fine dining, which only work from up close. This is where Frankfurt's strategic location comes into play.
Well, what's crazy is like think about the FBI, for example. Think about all the resources they have. Like if you do something federally wrong in the United States and they need to look at your phone, like dump your phone, they're getting into it. It's not a matter of like if, it's a matter of when. They literally have these boxes that they just plug your phone into and they start the decryption. That's it. It doesn't matter if it's Apple, doesn't matter if it's Samsung, doesn't matter if they partner with the company. They are getting into your phone. Now, like that's all stuff we know of. Now think of all the stuff the CIA is doing on the back end, and they're just doing that on the go. You know, they're just doing that in flight.
An agreement allows Jane to travel from Frankfurt to almost any European country
100% RG.
without border control. If Jane wanted to penetrate high-security targets that are not connected to the internet, she could simply take a train, stick a USB drive loaded with malware into a target PC, and be back in Frankfurt.
Today I'm going to make a beat for NBA Young.
All right, I'm liking this video, so I'm gonna mute this. I'm gonna let the ads run for a minute because I like making sure that these guys get paid. Theories aren't infinite, man. No, that's not a theories. I've literally seen the box. Oh, you're saying theories for the CIA, but for the FBI, I've literally seen the box. That's real. They just plug your phone into it. Just hit go. Like I'm oversimplifying it, but that's it. I mean, there's if they want something, they'll get it. I mean, they're tracking everything. I mean, we'll have to watch a video because there's secret rooms. We'll watch a video because there's secret rooms that AT&T has inside of network facilities that are unmarked, and they're literally just bypass. I don't want to call them bypass rooms, but they're like we'll call it like an injection. It grabs, literally mirrors everything that the fiber's outputting, because I think how I remember it is they can copy it via glass, because the light that the fiber sends, they can not disrupt the fiber, but they can like put glass in it somehow, and then they can reflect that into a different fiber stream and catch all that. 100%. 100%. There's people, I mean, people just do the ultimate problem ends up being government resources to catch everything that's illegal. Straight up. Like there's people that do illegal shit every day. Just think about it as you're driving down the road and you're speeding. It's just, are you to what law are you breaking, like that they are going to come after you. That's the risk you have to take as the individual, right? All right, let's. Oh, I missed the opportunity. Hold on. It should let me skip. Okay, we got them paid for the first one. Full ad. Here we go. Continuing on.
Jane is a very talented hacker. If one day she decided to leave the CIA, she could have a very promising career as a cybersecurity expert.
Well, that's why people
All she'd
go
have
into
to do-
these. That's why people go into these three letters too, right? Is think about it. You're young. You're 20 something, 30 something, right? You go into a three-letter agency. For those of you who aren't familiar with me saying that, you do 20 years. You get your pension, and I think you get top average of top three. So you get your pension, whatever you make, average of top 3 years, and then you go somewhere else because you have all these years in this three-letter agency. They will scoop you up like that. You will make $200,000 to $300,000 a year plus the pension that you're making on top of that, and you're double dipping.
Do is build a portfolio
I like
and
this.
launch her own website.
And we're subbing.
Unfortunately, Jane is not very creative when it comes to designing. Luckily, she doesn't have to be. There is a fast, easy, and intuitive way to build a website with our sponsor, Odoo.
Oh,
Odoo
good
is an
ad.
all-in-one management platform that lets you build a great-looking
Good ad
website
placement.
in minutes. Just answer a few quick questions, select a theme you like, and customize it to your needs. Simply drag and drop blocks to add images or text.
That's so creative
If
on
you,
that ad
like
placement.
Jane, are out of creative ideas, AI can help you. With Odoo's intuitive website builder, you can easily change every aspect of your site. Highlight text, change the shape of your
If they're gonna
pictures,
do an ad, I'm gonna do an ad. Y'all, I'm 5 followers away. I'm 5 followers away on Twitch from being able to go to 50, and then an average of 3 viewers to get myself to affiliate. If you could be one of the last 5 followers to get me there, I would really appreciate it. An ad for an ad. 100%. They will surely catch your experience. Yeah, they'll catch you. 100%.
clicking on fern.deals/Odoo to build your very own website. Your first app is free for life, with a custom domain name free for 1 year.
Yep.
Jane is working at the base for a time now when she gets a phone call. Her superiors need her expertise at another location. She says goodbye to her colleagues, checks out of her hotel room, and buys a single malt whiskey with her remaining euros in the duty-free shop at the airport. Jane's next destination is Australia.
Chapter 2, Virginia Farm Girl.
Jane gets off the plane and walks to customs, and things do not go smoothly. One of the officers seems suspicious about her and selects Jane for secondary screening. But she is prepared.
That's normal with these
Agents
guys.
like Jane are usually trained here,
Yeah.
Camp Peary, or how most people in the CIA call it, the farm, a roughly 10,000-acre piece of land near Williamsburg, Virginia. It was established during World War II as a military training center. Later, it was transformed into a camp for Italian and German war prisoners. In 1951, the CIA took over and turned it into a secret spy school. Of course, not officially. In fact, the CIA has built an entire fake city. There are multiple houses and dormitories for students and staff. For training, the site has several shooting ranges, boathouses at the river, driving courses, and an airfield. Students learn everything they need to know about life as a secret agent in the field, from basic weapons trainings all the way to the handling of explosives, how to evade pursuers, and
Well, as I understand it too, right? The local communities are a part of it, and not like they're all CIA agents. The way I understand it is they do the training, and then they'll go out and um I'm getting put on a watch list. Thanks, Bayo. The way I understand it too is they go out and in their local communities once they learn their trainings for blending in, whatever it may be, and they deploy that on the locals. And so what I mean is like the locals know that that's happening, right?
Field surveillance. Students practice how to infiltrate a border that is tightly guarded by watchtowers and police dogs. Enemy capture is simulated by kidnapping students from their dorm and interrogating them. There is even a mock prison where students learn how to deal with solitary
Yes, sir. 5
confinement.
away, Bay Hill.
If training needs to be even more hardcore, students are brought to Harvey Point, just a few hours south of the farm. This is
My best PC game. I like PUBG and Counter-Strike 100%.
the place where, among other things,
All right, let me go
the
back. I
operative
missed that.
I'm in. If training needs to be even more hardcore, students are brought to Harvey Point, just a few hours south of the farm. This is the place where, among other things, the operation to kill Osama bin Laden was planned and trained.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know that.
I often joke that I'm retired, but in reality, it's just that I get to live my dream of being a...
I didn't know that. Oh, look at us. We're beating the average right now. We're beating the average. We just need those 5 more followers on Twitch. Literally. That's amazing. Yeah, you like best for you is PUBG, funny? Absolutely. Again, I'm respecting these guys. I'm letting the ad run because this is how they get paid. If we're reacting to it, they get paid.
Jane stands in front of a customs officer at the Australian airport. She remembers how to survive secondary screening. According to a CIA training manual, the 2 most common questions in this situation are why are you here and where are you staying? Jane learned how to maintain her cover, no matter what. When asked, Jane gives a quick and concise answer, no pause and no delaying sounds between questions and response, just as the manual says.
Yeah,
She knows
no
that any
uhs.
unnecessary information or overly
No
specific
ums
answers
or
might
uhs.
lengthen the interview, so she keeps it short and simple. She tries to stay calm, no swallowing, no lip biting, nothing that can make her seem nervous. And it works. After a few minutes, the officer hands Jane her passport and she's free to enter the country.
Oh. No, they don't, RG. They don't trust their bodyguards. No. What did
Jane
that
is
say?
sitting
I
with
missed
her
that. A casino full of agents, chapter 3.
Jane is sitting with her colleagues in a casino in Alice Springs, a small town right in the heart of the Australian outback. There are a lot of Americans all around her, which is not unusual. Most of them work at Pine Gap, a nearby military base run by the Australian and US government. Jane and others are playing a weird American dice game called Craps.
I've never heard of this base. Hold on one second. I've never heard of this base. Pine Gap. Pine Gap, Australia, US base. Let's see this thing. Hold on. Let me bring it back so you can see it. Images. Damn. Nautilus Institute for Security and Sustainability. The NSA spy hub in the heart of Australia. That's crazy. What does this say? Oh, it's just got a bunch of markers next to it. That's really cool. That's really cool. I've never heard of this place.
When a group of Australian YouTubers join them,
Yeah, this
together
does
they
look like
drink,
Hitman,
they
bro.
laugh, and maybe talk a bit too much about
Which
their
is
work.
perfect.
The Americans in this casino are no ordinary soldiers, and Pine Gap is not your usual military base. Pine Gap is a top-secret spy facility.
What are you doing there?
Roughly 1,000 people work at the so-called Joint Defense Facility, which is a quite misleading name, in fact. In its early years, Australians only worked as cooks, painters, or janitors, while today almost half the staff is Australian and the other half American. In reality, the CIA and the NSA call the shots here. While
Yeah.
Pine Gap was originally used as a defensive site to keep track of Soviet nuclear missiles during the Cold War, US intelligence quickly realized how useful this base could truly be. Today, it is the US's most important intelligence collection station in the world. There are 38 radar dishes all across the base. Many of them are enclosed in random, huge golf ball-like structures. They are built to hide and protect the antennas inside them. Most of
That
these
makes sense.
antennas communicate with US spy satellites, like Orion 3, 5, 7, and 9. These spy satellites are geosynchronous. They move in orbit with exactly the same speed as the Earth's rotation. This way, the CIA can intercept almost all wireless communication from Europe, Africa, and Asia, 24/7.
Oh my god.
The immensely powerful NSA spy programs, Echelon and X-Keyscore, that Edward Snowden made public in 2013, are also operated from Pine Gap. These programs are used to systematically collect everything, from online chats to phone calls and mails. At the heart of the base sits the operations building. On a total of around 20,000 square meters, roughly the size of a small IKEA, the CIA, NSA, and other agencies analyze all incoming intelligence data.
That's
Pine
crazy.
Gap played a
From one location in Australia, the United States can do that. Y'all, that is insane. That is insane.
vital role in America's war on terror. It provided real-time data for soldiers on the battlefield in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it was used to locate targets for U.S. drone strikes, during which hundreds of...
Well, I said this the other day, when I did a react video to Hitler's bunker. I showed it to you, RG, that channel, that Atrium, I can't remember the name, but I showed it to you with only like 4 videos but millions of views. And in there, to get a message to Hitler in there, the general, I shit you not, the general who was ahead of Berlin's final like stance, their final spot where they were holding off the Russians, to get to Hitler himself, he had to go into the bunker, which was secure. Then he had to go through not only 1, not only 2, but 3 layers of security. And then he had to go through his secretary just to get to him and talk about a plan. It's like think about all of the changes that happened in the time it took for him to get there and give that information, and then for Hitler to make a decision off of that, versus here it's like everything's happening in real time. You can just make a decision, like you're just, it's happening actually so fast, and you're gathering data so fast, you're almost limited by, okay, what decision do I make that will be right here, right now, or in 20 minutes make the best impact? That's just crazy to me.
Civilians were killed. A very recent report indicates that Pine Gap intelligence may have assisted Israeli forces to attack targets in Gaza. For that reason, a group of protesters tried to block the entrance to Pine Gap at the end of last year. Pine Gap has been criticized by many different groups before. Some people have even managed to enter the facility. More recently, these Australian YouTubers, for example. Be sure to check out their video.
What?
It inspired us to make this video in the first place.
Should I be more hyped? Did you hear that? It sounded like bombs going off.
No.
Jane has seen places few people in the world have ever been to. Covert hacking bases in the heart of Europe, training facilities in the US, and spy stations in Australia. She knows many of the CIA's secrets, like the fact that in 2000, an American soldier from Pine Gap reportedly started a secret swingers club in Alice Spring, which held wild sex parties.
What?
But there are places that not even Jane will ever have access to.
I'm sure that shit happens.
If you're an
I'm sure that happens more than, I'm sure that's just like one of a million things that happens more than we even know. 100%. What are you thinking, RG? Should we watch another one after this, or should we go to pub or CS? What are you thinking? Give another 20 seconds on this ad, then we'll go. Watch, man. You want to watch? All right, let's see what we can watch next. Yeah, I'm good with it, bro. I'm good with it. I like this structure. It's good. It's a good change of pace for me too. Cause it's a good change of pace because I don't feel like I have to always be, doing well in a game or have a good game for it to make content. Like this is this shows me, right? Which is good. We'll find another video like this because I know you like the history stuff like I'm watching right now too. Chapter 4 black sites. Oh, I'm happy
On
they brought this
September
up.
6, 2006, President George Bush admitted what many people had already suspected.
So I'm announcing today that Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, Abu Zubaydah, Ramzi bin al-Shib, and 11 other terrorists in CIA custody have been transferred to the United States Naval Base at Guantanamo Bay.
In this speech, Bush acknowledged that the CIA was running a network of secret prisons all across the world, so-called black sites. The most well-known CIA prison is Guantanamo Bay in Cuba. The prison was built for
That's the black site we know about. That's all I'm saying.
international terrorist suspects. Just
You give everyone one to point a reference to, so they're like, oh yeah, it's real. Everything can go away now, and then they just continue to do it in the background.
months after the attacks on 9/11, the first 20 people arrived. But Guantanamo is no regular prison. In most cases, there are no official charges, no trials, and no formal convictions. A total of 800 people were brought here. Some have been exposed to enhanced interrogation techniques, most commonly known as torture.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Often the
what a
CIA
nice way.
did not have clear evidence on their inmates.
Listen, I'm
Often
not
the-
saying that it's right that these people are held like that, but I'm also saying, what do you have to do in life? How horrible of a human do you have to be to get to this position?
CIA did not have clear evidence on their inmates. The exact number and locations of black sites are still unknown. Some were run by foreign secret services. At least 10 of these prisons were built and operated by the CIA. Over 50 governments participated in some way. If the CIA suspected someone of being a terrorist, they sometimes became part of the agency's extraordinary rendition program, or simply kidnapping. The suspect was illegally shackled.
Just putting business terms. They're just putting business terms on all this stuff, man. What did they call that? Extraordinary rendition. Rendition? Yeah, rendition? Torture.
Rendition program, or simply they sometimes became part of the agency's extraordinary rendition program,
Yeah.
or simply kidnapping. The suspect was illegally shackled, blindfolded, and transported via plane to one of the CIA's black sites. Some of these prisons were allegedly planned from the CIA base in Frankfurt, while the farm was allegedly involved in rendition flights. One of the most important prisons of the CIA was here, on a Polish military base near the small village of Starekikute. Inside this two-story villa, the CIA built one of its very first prisons after 9/11, codenamed Quartz. The CIA tortured multiple suspects here. As compensation for using the place, the CIA paid at least $15 million and outfitted the base with $300,000 worth of security cameras. After many years of denial, in 2014, the Polish government finally admitted that it hosted the secret CIA prison. Since then, the European Court of Human Rights has found multiple European countries responsible for letting the CIA violate several human rights in prisons on their territory. In 2009, President Obama ordered for all black sites to be closed. But to this day, Guantanamo Bay still holds roughly 30 inmates.
That's really good. That was really good. Let's check out this channel. This is interesting. The Secrets of the Great Pyramid. Y'all should just go like this video. Is it Mitansh? Mitansh? Welcome in. This is a really good channel. Ooh, this is kind of in theme. The Hunt for America's Smartest Killer. How the CIA destroyed their nuclear program. Okay, hold on. So this one, how the CIA destroyed Iran's nuclear program. If I have this correct, and this is what I think happened, and then we're gonna watch this one, okay? Is Iran, however you want to pronounce it. I know that we in the U.S. probably pronounce it differently than overseas. The way I understand it is they had an air-gapped system, but somehow through a Windows 0 day bug, the United States was able to get into their closed system and deploy a virus that took these rods right here, those rods, and as Iran kept trying to put in these nuclear rods, it would just overload those rods and ruin them. and they ended up killing their lead scientist because, and we're gonna watch it to make sure I have this correct. They ended up killing their lead scientist because um, they thought he was the one that was causing issues. Like they thought he was like, like, what is the word I'm looking for? Hold on one second. I gotta say bye to my wife. One second. She had to go to work. She had to go to work. But yeah, they ended up. Okay, let's watch this because I think that I think what I have here is correct. This is gonna be good.
Is the
This is a good channel, Fern. I really like it. We'll give them this ad at the beginning, make sure they get paid, and then we'll go into it. But I'm pretty sure I have this correct. All right. I wonder, how did I watch this video before? Because I think the U.S. was trying extremely hard to get into these facilities, and Iran would no longer let the like global nuclear overseeing department, whatever that's called, in to see them anymore. Like straight up. All right, here we go. You ready? Here we go.
Natanz, Iran. Here, buried 26 feet underground and shielded by 8-foot concrete walls, lies
No
a
worries,
top
RG.
secret uranium enrichment facility. At its core are rows upon rows of gas centrifuges. They are all interconnected by a maze of pipes. Gaseous uranium is pushed through the system in several stages. The centrifuges spin at dizzying speeds, which separates uranium isotopes based on their weight.
I think this is what they
The
were
heavier
overloading.
atoms are gradually pushed towards the outer edges, while the lighter atoms concentrate in the center. That's the enrichment. When this enriched uranium is later split, enormous amounts of energy are released. Enriched uranium is the key ingredient to nuclear power plants, or to the deadliest weapon mankind has ever seen.
I still think the next war is going to be infrastructure versus infrastructure, over and over and over and over again.
In the past few weeks, centrifuges have been breaking down at an alarming rate. Sure, it's normal to replace them every now and then, but this level of failure is beyond anything the Iranian scientists can explain, especially since the control panels and system logs show nothing out of the ordinary. The nuclear engineers are baffled. Could their systems somehow have been sabotaged? Impossible. The facility is completely air-gapped, hermetically sealed off from the internet, and physically disconnected from the outside world. It's perfectly protected from foreign intelligence services like the CIA. There's no way that anybody could get into these systems, right?
This is good.
This video is partly based on the great book Countdown to Zero Day. You'll find a link in the description.
Yeah. I think that's a reference to the 0 day the 0 day gaps in Windows, right? Like the 0 day bugs, because I think it said that any Windows computer that's ever been connected to the internet has malware on it, because it's still lurking. There's still viruses, bugs from years ago that are still just lurking, and some just kept computer hopping and just were waited to get activated, which I think some people are saying like, oh, it's acceptable now, like no big deal, right? Obviously, the world's usually going fine, but I know that these 0 days are a big issue, and I think this is exactly how they got in.
Listen and Oleg Kupriv work for a small cybersecurity firm in Minsk, Belarus. Right now, they're remotely troubleshooting some computers for an Iranian client. The PCs are acting up, constantly crashing and rebooting. They dig through the systems, searching for the root cause. and eventually they find something. A malware. But this isn't your typical run-of-the-mill virus. This thing feels different. It's incredibly sophisticated, unlike anything they've ever seen. It appears to be exploiting a zero-day vulnerability. That's a previously unknown flaw in an operating system or software program. A zero-day exploit is insanely powerful because, as long as it stays undetected and unpatched by developers, it can be used indefinitely. And the more critical the breach, the more systems can be hacked or infected.
And they're still being found to this day. They'll always continue to be found.
0 days are the holy grail of hacking. Ulison and Kapriv are stunned, and quite frankly, a bit intimidated. This was not the work of amateurs. Whatever they're looking at reeks of top-tier expertise. The malware turns out to be a highly complex computer worm. It can replicate itself and somehow stay undetected while slipping into the most heavily secured Windows systems. Alarmed, Ulison and Kapriv email Microsoft to report their troubling discovery, but oddly enough, they get no response. 2 weeks later, they decide to go public. On July 12th,
What does that background noise remind you of? Is it Halo? Is it Destiny? What is that background noise?
Kapriv email Microsoft to report their troubling discovery, but oddly enough, they get no response.
It's not
2
the
weeks
exact same, but it's similar to something. Oh, I can't figure it
Later,
out.
They decide to go public, but oddly
In YouTube later on, if you figure it out, please tell me. There's a background noise here.
enough, they get no response. 2 weeks later, they decide to go public. On July 12, 2010, Ulison posts a warning on his employer's website in an English-speaking online security forum. He shares what they found out about the malware and issues an urgent alert. But the warning comes too late. The worm has already spread far and wide, infecting over 100,000 computers across more than 100 countries. Among them, Indonesia, India, Azerbaijan, Pakistan, Malaysia, and the US.
See, I think that this might be the exact same thing I was talking about, is they didn't want to limit it to having to go for one individual trying to get into that nuclear facility and then plant the virus. So they were just like, just continue to hop, just replicate until you find the source that we're looking for, and then just deploy at that source. So I think this is going to go on to say that all of the computers in the world still hold this today.
But most of all, Iran.
Yeah.
I dare you to let me build you a completely free e-commerce store preloaded with 20.
The news about the powerful computer worm spreads like wildfire. Whispers ripple through the tech world, and soon the software earns its now infamous name. From two file names buried in the malicious code, .stub and mrxnet.sys, a moniker is born. Stuxnet.
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 Microsoft announces a patch and says they must have missed Ulison's mail. Cybersecurity experts worldwide are scratching their heads. They begin dissecting Stuxnet's code and end up taking months to piece its secrets together. Slowly but surely, they realize Stuxnet doesn't use just one zero-day exploit. It uses 4.
What?
The main file of Stuxnet is unusually large for a computer
He
worm.
said earlier that finding one zero-day exploit was like the holy grail, but it uses 4. Probably so when they patch one, maybe does it just use another way to get into a system?
600 kilobytes. For comparison, the worm Conficker, which infected an estimated 6 million systems in the late 2000s, was only 35 kilobytes. So what exactly is Stuxnet doing when it infects a system? And most importantly, why? We hope that you will learn something over the course of this video, not like back in school. Think unbearably boring lessons on some subject that could actually be interesting. We try to wrap information in compelling storytelling and fun animations, and we're not alone. Our friends at Imprint have developed an innovative app that turns screen time into growth time. The library features beautifully designed bite-sized and interactive lessons. You can go for 3-minute quick reads or full-on 80-unit courses. It's flexible, it's useful, and it makes you feel good. A fantastic replacement for endless doom scrolling. The content covers topics like health, philosophy, and productivity. Personally, we've been hooked on their course on the science of happiness, that shows how small mental shifts can completely change the way you see the world.
So
Looking
true.
at your New Year's propositions here. Their financial literacy series is another game changer to make better financial decisions.
Even just forcing yourself to smile once a day can make you a happier person. So true.
In the upcoming year. Start your 7-day free trial now and get 20% off your annual subscription. Just scan the QR code or visit imprintapp.com/fern to start 2025 with some powerful new habits. Once Stuxnet infiltrates a system, it first installs a rootkit. Rootkits are collections of tools designed to hold suspicious processes and activities. This allows the malware to remain undetected. Stuxnet's rootkit operates at the kernel level. It can conceal its presence while taking complete control of the infected computer, even altering core functions of its operating system. The worm specifically targets Windows systems and exploits legitimate digital certificates from trusted companies like Realtek Semiconductor and Microsoft. These certificates are essentially stamps of approval that software manufacturers use to verify their programs as safe. By leveraging these certificates, the attackers can bypass a lot of security measurements. Ultimately, one expert notices something extremely odd. Stuxnet seems to only activate on systems running a specific software called Siemens Step 7. On all other systems, the worm does nothing except spread further. The Siemens software is part of an industrial control system designed to work with so-called programmable logic controllers. These devices are widely used in industrial settings to control machines. The whole thing just got even more mysterious. Cybersecurity experts continue dissecting Stuxnet. They uncover that the malware has been active since June 2009, creeping through
And they found this in 2010?
systems for an entire year before anyone noticed. During this time, Stuxnet appears to have launched 3 distinct waves of attack. The first in June 2009, followed by 2.
Imagine being the creator or creators of this, and for you deploy it, and for a whole year, you're just like working on something else, you forget about it, and you're like, yeah, that's still
more in March
working.
and April 2010. With each wave, the code was slightly tweaked, most likely to render the malware even more aggressive. There are very few entities in the world who could pull this off. And there's one more detail. Stuxnet isn't just attacking any random computer running the Siemens software. It's originally tailored to strike in one specific country. Whatever Stuxnet is after, it must be worth the enormous amount of effort put into this worm. It must be industrial in nature, and it must be located in Iran.
Genius.
In 2002, an Iranian resistance group exposes the existence of 2 top-secret nuclear facilities in Iran. A heavy water plant in Iraq,
It really be your
and a
own.
uranium enrichment facility in Natanz. Why does Iran suddenly need so much uranium? Alarm bells go off in the West. Could Iran be working on nuclear weapons? This would violate the Non-Proliferation Treaty, or NPT. That's an agreement signed by the international community in 1968 to prevent the spread of nukes and promote disarmament. Iran appears to be willingly
Hey, we got them. You don't need them.
breaking the NPT. The country was supposed to report the facilities to the International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, but it didn't. The body is responsible for monitoring nuclear activities and preventing the development of nuclear weapons. 1 year after the Natanz site is uncovered, the IAEA sends a team of investigators. The Iranian leadership tries to calm things down, insisting the uranium will be used for peaceful purposes only, to produce nuclear energy. But when the IAEA investigators get to Natanz, they collect environmental samples and find traces of highly enriched uranium. Uh-oh. This discovery sets off a chain reaction. The IAEA starts conducting regular inspections at the facility. The UN Security Council imposes economic sanctions.
I think Iran said no. I think once they started having issues, they said no more to inspections.
Years of tense negotiations ensue. Iran's nuclear ambitions cross a red line for many countries, especially for Israel and the US. Once allies, Washington and Tehran became bitter enemies after the Islamic Revolution in the 1970s. Meanwhile, Iran has openly positioned itself as Israel's nemesis and directly finances numerous anti-Israeli terrorist organizations. The stakes are clear. Israel and the US are determined to stop Iran's rise to nuclear power by any means necessary. In 2006, then-President George W. Bush is briefed on a top-secret plan. The CIA has come up with a strategy to sabotage Iran's nuclear program. Working closely with Israeli cyber intelligence, they begin crafting a sophisticated digital weapon. The project is continued under Barack Obama. Its codename, Operation Olympic Games.
But I don't know if Obama knew about it initially. I feel like maybe he was briefed on it, right? What he got. I mean, I have no idea, right? Like, I'm not in the press, but I feel like this is one of those things because there was something underneath the Bush administration too, and I can't remember the specific name of it, but they were essentially collecting all ingoing and outgoing phone calls to other countries. But it was collecting information on U.S. citizens. Excuse me. It was collecting information on U.S. citizens, which was illegal. But I don't think Obama knew about that. Well, they say he didn't know about that until later on. I don't know.
Quick note.
Hey, if you're a gun owner who wants to shoot better, then you're going to need to see this. It's the new Vanish laser strike training system, and it is.
The following part of the story is based on this report by Dutch investigative journalist Huip Mulderkolk. While we cannot fully verify the events independently, they do align with earlier investigations made by other journalists. It's 2007. The CIA is making significant progress on Operation Olympic Games. They've even built a massive replica of Iran's nuclear facility deep in the forests of Tennessee.
I did not know this.
To understand how to sabotage the plant without detection. But they have a major problem.
What?
They can't send their own agents to infiltrate the high-security facility at Natanz.
Right. They were going to have to send the, that global group, whatever they're called. I can't think of their name.
So they turned to an ally, the Dutch intelligence service, MEVD. The plan for the covert operation is laid out during a meeting between CIA Director Michael Hayden and senior MEVD officials. Enter Eric van Sabbe, a Dutch engineer living in Dubai. He works there for a transportation company. He's also an asset for the Dutch Secret Service. And now he's given what will be the final mission of his life. Van Sabbe is to install water pumps at the Natanz plant. According to CIA Director Hayden, these pumps contain a technical masterpiece. Later that same year, Van Sabbe makes his way into Natanz and goes to work. How exactly he gains access remains a mystery, but he gets the job done. Van Sabbe successfully smuggles one of the most powerful cyber weapons ever created into a heavily secured and isolated underground nuclear facility.
Oh, maybe I was wrong then. Sounds like I was.
2 years later, in 2009, he dies tragically in a motorcycle accident in Dubai. There are no indications of foul play.
Right.
Once Stuxnet is inside the systems at Natanz, the malware gets to work. But somehow it's not effective yet. So the CIA doubles down, creating updated versions of Stuxnet in June 2009 and again in 2010. The iterations are faster, more aggressive, and capable of spreading across systems more efficiently, wreaking even greater havoc. This time, the US shifts tactics to get their weapons into the plant. They target 5 Iranian companies, specializing in industrial control systems. The updated Stuxnet worm uses those computers as a gateway to once again find its way into the Natanz facility.
Wow, that's genius.
For weeks, the malware does nothing but observe, recording every detail of the usual routine. When it's finally ready to strike, it starts by sending fake signals to the control room. To the operators, everything looks perfectly normal. But behind the scenes, chaos unfolds. Stuxnet sabotages the centrifuges by taking control of their frequency converters, the systems that regulate motor speeds. Stuxnet starts altering the centrifuge's speeds. The frequency converters...
Hold on. I'm gonna get a Red Bull. Hold on. I need one. Alright, I'm back. I needed to pick me up. I didn't have my morning coffee.
Usually operate within a safe range of 807 to 1207 Hz. But Stuxnet pushes that frequency up to 1410 Hz and then slams it down to a near standstill at just 2 Hz, before stabilizing it briefly at a moderate 1064 Hz. And then the cycle starts all over again. This constant speeding up and slowing down causes extreme wear and tear. In total, Stuxnet is believed to have temporarily disabled at least 1,000 centrifuges at the Natanz plant. Estimates suggest that the malware has set back Iran's nuclear program by as much as 2 years. However, some experts are skeptical of that claim. They believe Iran's nuclear efforts were able to recover rather quickly from the attack. Either way, the goal seemed not to have been to destroy the program in one dramatic strike, but to slow it down and buy time. Stuxnet was never meant to escape the confines of the Iranian nuclear facility, but clearly something went wrong. The problem was most likely a bug in the code. Apparently, Stuxnet infected the computer of an engineer at Natanz. When that computer later connected to the internet outside the facility,
It went everywhere in the
worm
world.
failed to recognize the change in the environment and began spreading worldwide.
Yeah.
This global outbreak blew any chance of keeping the weapon
It's said to
under
be on your
wraps.
computer today.
Given the scale and sophistication of the malware, it didn't take long for experts to suspect a state actor. Most likely the United States and the CIA in particular. Leaks would soon back up those suspicions. A US general allegedly shared classified details with the New York Times. To this day, neither the US nor Israel have officially admitted to having been involved in the development and use of the Stuxnet worm. Stuxnet marked a historic first, a digital weapon capable of physically destroying an industrial facility. Nothing like that had ever happened before, and to this day, no attack of such scale has been repeated, probably because operations like this require immense time and resources, with little guarantee of causing lasting damage. In 2021, another suspected cyber attack hit Iran's nuclear facilities, allegedly orchestrated by Israel, but like Stuxnet, it failed to permanently derail Iran's nuclear ambitions. According to the US Secretary of State, Iran is now dangerously close to having enough material to build a nuclear weapon. Whether they will actually build one remains uncertain. Iran's newly elected president continues to claim the country has no interest in nuclear arms.
That was really good. They left out the part where they thought it was their scientist, though, and killed him. They say, uh-oh, what's this? Ah, false alarm. Just another video about our 83rd scariest cyber weapon. I'm currently writing a university paper on cyber warfare, and it just now hit a roadblock. I open YouTube, and the first thing I see is this new video from Fern with this exact topic. The universe is on my side today. I like that. The CIA's scariest cyber weapon, Microsoft Windows. Fun fact, you will often see the decompiled Stuxnet code in movies and TV shows whenever some code is shown in a fantasy, fake, futuristic, faux, fictional user interface. This is because no one has laid claim to the code and no one likely ever will. So no copyright fees have to be paid and no legal clearance have to be obtained in order to show it. That's so interesting. I've used the code in screens I made for Arrow, The Flash, Legends of Tomorrow, Supergirl, Snowpiercer, Siren, and more. That's really cool. Their animation's crazy, and how do they animate so quickly? Amazing. It is amazing. Wow, I just had like the deepest burp ever. Iran has been 3 months away from a nuke for 20 years. These videos are so good. Fern on YouTube. These videos are crazy good. We just finished up 2. Okay, I think I'm gonna switch gears from the more government, side to I'm very curious on this one right here. The $1.7 trillion car loan debt crisis. What happened? Well, let's read the comments at the end. But I think this is going to be a good transition video.
Why are cars becoming so expensive? In January 2025, the average price of a new car passed $49,000, the highest it's ever been. Not only that, it's been outpacing inflation.
Do y'all ever just drink like a carbonated beverage and all you have to do afterwards is just burp? Oh, I keep muting though.
Rapidly. In fact, in 2024,
let's start this over. Hold on.
Car passed becoming so expensive. In January 2025, the average price of a new car passed $49,000, the highest it's ever been.
That's the average?
That, it's
49,000 is the average?
Been outpacing inflation rapidly. In fact, in 2024, there were almost no new cars listed under 20,000. Why are cars in the United States so unaffordable?
Yeah, I would say like base models now are like low 20s, 21, 23, 25.
The data doesn't lie. Something is very wrong with the US car market, and it only seems to be getting worse.
Well, a lot of it has to do with status. I fall to that trap too. I mean, 100% I fall to that trap. A lot of it has to do with status and the vehicle you want, and success is shown off of the things that you have. And so you want to have a new car to show that you're doing well, but the ironic thing is oftentimes you get a new car to show that you're doing well, but then getting that new car to show that you're doing well puts you paycheck to paycheck, which means you're no longer doing as well as you could have been before if you would have just kept the car that you had paid off. That's 100% true.
Is America in the middle of a car bubble, or things about to burst? As it turns out, the rising prices aren't even the worst part. There's something much worse underpinning all of this that could cause this bubble to burst. This situation sounds bad, but Americans are unfortunately used to this. It seems like everything is getting more expensive and outpaced.
Well, everything's getting more expensive because Americans are used to negotiating. So that's why everything is high. Core principle, right? You get on Facebook Marketplace, someone lists something for 100, you're not buying it for 100. Unless it's like the crazy good deal that you've ever seen ever, you're not buying it for $100. You're buying it for 80 or 60 or 70. And people know that. People know that.
Rising inflation, groceries, gas prices, housing prices. Cars are just another part of this, right? Well, there's something else going on with cars. Let's dive a bit deeper. $49,000 is a massive price for new cars, about $10,000 more than it was in 2019.
It's
the
crazy.
price is going up, but so are other things. Insurance premiums have gone up, so have repair costs and financing rates according to the Wall Street Journal. But it gets worse. Something happened recently. Something bad.
You want more clients? You think you can scale?
We're gonna let them get some ad revenue here. It's true though. I mean, it's absolutely true. I like watching videos like this. I really like it. All right, we're gonna give them 30 seconds on this ad clip. I just want you to know, as the viewer, I'm actively choosing not to use a extension to block ads. As we watch on here, I really want them to get paid. Like, I really want them to get paid.
Prices and something happened recently. Something bad. The change in car prices and wages used to be consistent. Then, in 2021, the price of new cars soared, leaping far above average earnings. Just take a look at this data. This isn't showing car prices, it's showing the change in car prices. For some reason, the rate at which cars got more and more expensive got faster and faster. It has stabilized now, but it's still...
A lot of it had to do with COVID and lack of inventory. And then what happened was the lack of inventory made the used car market increase. When the used car market increase, well, a rising tide raises all ships, right? So the used car market increases. Well, that $50,000 F-150 that's brand new, well, that $30,000 one that went up to 45, well, this one just went up to 65 or 70. So all the tides raised.
Sits at an absurdly high point. You might think, that's fine, I'll just buy secondhand. But somehow, the used car market has been hit much worse. Even those who don't buy new cars are still being hit hard, with the price changes jumping as high as 45%. If you wanted to save for a used car...
This is what I was saying the other day when I was watching the Carvana video. I could have resold my truck for $10,000 more than what I bought it for. Made money off of it. Would have not had a vehicle to drive in COVID, but would have made money.
At the end of 2021, it would take 5 more weeks than if you did it the year prior. Both new and used cars are becoming less and less affordable. What's going on? Why are cars getting so expensive and seemingly so quickly? Before we can answer that, we need to look at what kind of cars are being pushed by these companies. When Ford went electric, their two big EV offerings were the F-150 Lightning, an electric variant of their iconic pickup truck, and the Mustang Mach-E, a pseudo-SUV. Despite trying to be eco-friendly,
Pseudo-SUV is the best term I have heard for the Mach-E. It is a pseudo-SUV. 100%.
there was no cheap, small alternative. They say there's a small team working on creating one, but it's noticeably absent. It's the same thing at Tesla. They previously promised the next generation of cheaper EVs at $25,000 by the end of 2023. But by April 2024, they had reportedly scrapped those plans.
Yeah.
In a later earnings call, an investor asked, when can we expect Tesla to give us the $25,000 non-robo-taxi regular car model? Elon Musk responded, I think having a regular 25K model is pointless. It would be silly.
Yeah.
And he's not wrong from a business standpoint. CNBC reported that cars below $20,000 traditionally made up 20% of the market, but in 2024, that was just 8%.
Yeah.
American car companies aren't interested in smaller cars. Most of them are moving away from cheaper models in favor of giant trucks and SUVs.
Well, because the smaller models, right? I don't know if this is actually true or not, but this is where my brain goes. The smaller models are still good cars. Like, think of the Ford Fusion. They went away from making the Ford Fusion. The Ford Fusion is a pretty staple car of Ford. If you want one, you can go get one. Volvo still makes a smaller car. You can go get one of those. Like, companies are still making these cars, but there's just a good solid used inventory now that makes up for that market. A lot of people, when they want a new car, they're not going and buying something brand new that's small, unless it's like brand name, like they're brand loyal, like Subaru. They're going to buy something that's luxurious, comfortable for them or their family, which means more room, bigger to support a different lifestyle. So these companies are like, well, I'm not going to waste my time. The used market's supporting that, and I'm not going to fight for scraps in the used market. I'm just going to go ahead and start making these luxury vehicles, or well, they are luxury, but there's different terms of luxury, right? But they are luxury vehicles per my thought, right? Like bigger, more electronics in them, bigger footprint on the road, and more comfortable to drive. And they're going to capture that market 100%.
Why? Well, this is what most Americans actually want, but also, cheaper cars mean tighter margins, especially in EV.
Yeah.
So they want you to buy big and buy expensive.
Yeah.
Car companies want to make
buy big, buy expensive, because you'll be comfortable. Your lifestyle can support it, and it's because what you deserve, right? Like that's part of the selling point. And it becomes this, it also creates this, like, think of like Ferrari or Lamborghini. I know this is going to sound like a stretch, or Mercedes, right? Like, it becomes this obtainable thing that is just currently out of your reach, but it gives you something to aspire to enter into, right? Like, there's also some of that at play too, some of that emotional.
Make big expensive cars because they're more profitable. Many have even discontinued smaller, cheaper models to focus more efforts towards SUVs.
Ford Fusion.
It's why most cars on the road seem to be SUVs or gigantic trucks. Small cars don't make good business. Though, it's not like this is just because of car
That's
maker.
all. It's not true. Smaller cars on a mass scale don't make good business. If you're brand loyal or you want safety, like, people buy for brand or safety. If you're a Ford, you're oftentimes buying for the Expedition or F-150 or Explorer. The bigger model is what you're probably more loyal to in that standpoint. The F-150 is the most purchased vehicle, not truck, purchased vehicle in the United States, right? So that's their market. Their market is people who want those bigger vehicles. So that's what they're moving to. But if you look at Volvo, Volvo's all about safety. From the smallest Volvo to the biggest, they're all about safety. So they have a wide range of market for anyone who wants to drive whatever size of car they want because they're giving you that offering with the main core being safety. Which, fun fact about Volvo, I'm fun fact about Volvo is, and I'm trying to remember this, I'm trying to recall this correctly. The CX-90 is the only vehicle, I was going to say SUV, and I'm pretty sure it's the only vehicle that someone has not died in an accident that was caused upon them. And the reason I use that specific language at the end, which I know is crazy to even think about, I think it's been out for 8 or 10 years. The only vehicle where when someone has been driving and they've been wrecked into, they have not died in the world, right? The reason I use that specific language is because Volvo had a long-standing note that no one has died in our CX-90 vehicle, but someone got drunk, drove their vehicle, and they died or they killed their passenger in the car, and Volvo could no longer say that sentence because of a drunk driver. Very, very interesting nonetheless. It's a good fun fact. The Volvo CX-90, I think, is the safest car on the road. Like when you see that thing, that like it's withheld like boulders falling onto it. If you're gonna have a kid and your main priority is literally safety on anything else, the Volvo CX-90.
The American public has also gravitated towards the bigger cars, SUVs and pickup trucks. Gigantic cars with all the bells and whistles, and of course, gigantic price tags.
Yeah.
I work with guys that buy 100K trucks just to drive back and forth to work. They put 12K worth of wheels and tires on them and complain about the gas prices. And let me tell you...
Well, that's the problem, right? Like, you don't buy a truck to care about the gas price. If you're buying a truck and then you bitch about the gas price, then you should never have bought a truck. I drive a truck and I do not complain about the gas price. But the reason is because my truck's paid off. I don't care what the gas costs me, right? I have a set budget. I never go over that budget. It doesn't matter. You don't buy a truck to care about the gas prices.
Texas, that's truer than anywhere else. Loving big cars is one thing, but being able to afford them is another.
Want to help drive America's technological edge?
I do. I will sponsor your, or I will watch your ad. I do want to help. We'll give them another... It's only 26 seconds. We only have another 10 on their ad. I just state those for YouTube because I know you can't see the full screen. So that's why if I'm stating the obvious, that's why. Cool.
Customizing big cars is one thing, but being able to afford them is another. More recently, customers are starting to move away from SUVs and trucks. Tastes might be changing, but the high price is clearly a key reason.
But here's the thing is, SUVs, they're moving away from SUVs and trucks, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily moving into sedans. I know it's still classified as an SUV, but they just literally showed, what is this car? The
but
Kia...
being able to afford them is another.
No, Toyota, what is this car? The RAV4, right? Like the RAV4 is a small SUV by comparison to Chevy Equinox. I think it's even smaller than the GMC Acadia, the Ford Explorer, right? So when you look at these cars, like that's the new version of the sedan right here. Because it's still small, compact, but you sit up higher. So if you smoke a deer, you're probably safer. If you run over something, you're probably safer. When you're driving in traffic and you need to see through the windshield of the car in front of you to see the taillights of the car in front of it, braking it, like, you're safer. People think about these things.
To move away from SUVs and trucks. Tastes might be changing, but the high price is clearly a key reason. Sales for smaller models like the Honda Civic are rising, up 23% in November 2024, while pickup trucks and SUVs have also been dropping. Analysts are saying that buyers need the functionality that
I still stand by what I said. I still stand by what I said.
But just need to buy the smaller size.
I gotta stop drinking Red Bulls.
It's not just the price though.
I just love them.
Bigger expensive cars like SUVs and trucks cost more to run day to day. They often require more gas, which has become more expensive. They cost more to insure, which is also rising. But the most outrageous cost is repair. This 2023 Tesla Model Y with a small dent cost $7.
Well, that's because it's like a what's the phases? Hold on a second. I'm gonna look this up. Phases of adoption. There's no, it's not phases of adoption, it's phases of new product adoption. Early adopter. Let's see if I can find this. Okay, right here. Okay, right here. It typically consists of 5 stages. You have the innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggard, right? If you're in the innovators, which a lot of these people were in, I don't know if you can see that. I don't think you can see that on YouTube. Hold on. Can I open this image? Where's this at? Okay, this is kind of a shit view, but you should be able to see it on YouTube. Oh, I passed it. Right here. You should be able to see it on YouTube now. I literally watched my stream back on my phone to make sure I could see it for you all. If you're in the innovators, early adopters, right here, and you get something like, where's the video we're watching? This on your car, people don't know how to fix that yet, or there's not parts there for it. So of course it's $7,000. That's like saying I have this very unique thing. It's not mass produced. I need someone very unique and specific to fix it. Of course that is going to be expensive. Like if you're right here, expect to pay more. If you're, this is another great example. In 2020, I had a friend who was looking to buy a new truck. He had never bought his own before, and he had come from two small SUVs, and he was like, "Hey, I want to buy a truck." And we were talking about the different brands, and I said, "Don't buy a Ford in 2020." And he was like, "Why?" And I said, "Because it's the new year for that truck. It's the new year." That it would have been in the innovators, early adopters, and what I mean by that is, yes, the F-150 has been around for forever, right? But in the new year, they throw all these new bells and whistles in. It makes to be this nice thing, right? But it's not all the kinks are worked out. So you buy the second year or the third year of that iteration before they start making more changes to it, because it's usually like a 5-year cycle. And then later on, they've worked out all the kinks. Now people know how to support those issues. They know how to diagnose and troubleshoot a lot quicker. So like just literally understanding this and applying it, like people that are like, "Oh, I bought a Tesla and I got this minor dent in it, or someone wrecked my fender." It's like, yeah, that's gonna be very expensive, bro. You should expect that when you buy something very niche or new.
$1,000 to repair. This 2019 Chevy Silverado with a scrape on the front bumper cost $1,500. And it's not just small bumps though. These cars
That's pretty normal. That's normal. I got backed into in a parking lot, and it pushed. I got backed into, like, if my hands are the side of the truck and my thumbs right here, the doors, it pushed in, and it took the back door, which for you is actually this hand. It took the back door and it like pushed it in a little bit. $3,300. I mean, insurance paid for it, but that's normal, right? Like, this is not that bad. Look at this right here. That's $7,000. That's bad. This is not. That's normal.
And it's not just small bumps though. These cars often have advanced technology like new cameras or sensors, which are raising prices and can be extremely costly to repair. Big cars somehow became part of the American dream, but many have given it up. So why are prices still going up?
This
Chapter 2, why are they so expensive?
The first fully immersive sleep system. Intelligent, adaptive, effortless. It doesn't replace
This is
your
kind of
bed,
cool.
It transforms it. Pod 5 listens
The new
and
pod.
responds to your needs in real time, adjusting temperature, elevation, and sound.
How does
while
that
you
work with
sleep.
2 people?
Built to
I've
give
always
you
thought about
all-night
that.
comfort with an adaptive sleep surface that fits onto any mattress to personalize temperature, so you and your partner sleep just the way you like. Pod 5 features
That's
a new
really cool.
hydro-powered blanket that wraps you in full-body immersive temperature, giving you double the cooling and heating coverage. No more overheating, cold wake-ups, or
This is
blanket
like the
blowers.
coolest
Just
advertisement
deep,
I've seen in a long
uninterrupted
time.
sleep. Plus, a base that lifts to automatically ease snoring, shifts to zero gravity for full body restoration, and now features integrated surround sound to help you fall asleep and stay asleep longer.
Of
Select
course.
how you would like to unwind, with white noise, nature sounds, or exclusive content from Dr. Andrew.
This is a very good ad.
And when morning comes, no jarring alarms, just warmth, a soft vibration, and gentle sound.
Oh.
Waking you when you're ready, the way nature.
Oh, could you imagine?
3 elements, infinite personalizations, giving you exceptional sleep without exception. Contactless sensors in the pod track your heart rate, breathing, sleep stages, and more. And it uses artificial intelligence to go beyond just tracking. It learns from your data and optimizes your environment in real time to keep you in deep sleep for longer. The new health check is a breakthrough in passive.
I don't know how good this actually is, but
Without
that's
any
cool.
wearables, the pod quietly
The way they've
monitors
marketed this,
cardiovascular and
give
respiratory
that team a raise.
Using clinical grade precision, it leverages the hours that you spend on your bed.
I want to watch
conduct
this
a
ad.
review of your health every night. Designed for anyone who won't settle for just okay sleep. This is Pod 5, the only way you should sleep.
That was an incredible ad. That was an incredible ad. That was incredible.
There are multiple.
That's the first ad I've come across, and I'm like, I'm watching the whole thing, and I didn't mind to watch the whole thing. Like, I've watched these ads for these YouTube channels because I want to make sure they get paid, but that I genuinely did not want to click off that.
Factors working against the auto industry, and one.
Well, let's go back. Chapter 2. Why are they so
multiple
expensive?
Factors working against the auto industry, and one people point to are raw materials. Rubber has been fairly stable, but aluminum saw a gigantic spike in the pandemic. Steel is the same. With Trump's tariffs in 2025, these might jump again, but it doesn't fully explain why car prices got so high, and more importantly, have stayed so high. But there are other components that do. Between 2020 and 2023, we saw the global semi.
Well, here's the thing. Look at egg prices lately, right? And I think they've stabilized some, but I think it's just a good example. When you think about the car market, just translate this over. Eggs went through, there was like a disease, right? And you had to be careful which eggs you bought, and there was a bunch of recalls, and so eggs were limited, therefore egg prices skyrocketed. And so instead of paying like $1.85, $2.30 for a carton of 12 eggs, you're paying $6 or $8. No, I paid $9 for a carton at one point. Ridiculous. Okay? But then things start to correct, right? They go through that issue, things start to correct, but the companies look at it and they go, our prices were here, and now they're way up here. Let's see how long we can sustain this for before the market corrects us. And we're still in that in the used car market. It's not like eggs, like you're buying something new like you need them every couple of days, and they can see the dramatic change like that. I mean, the car market, at least I feel like, is a lot different, a lot less consumed, like eggs. They don't get those raw data points as fast. And so it's like, okay, these companies go through these trying times where everything is inflated as they just showed you here. But then they're like, things have stabilized, right? But our prices are now up here, and we still have consumers paying for the prices up here. Let's see how long we can keep them there before prices eventually, which they will, come way back down. So I think that's part of where we're at right now too.
Semiconductor crisis. The pandemic threw production and supply chains into chaos, and everyone was fighting for chips. This crisis was so severe that government saw chip production as a national security risk. In response, the Biden administration introduced the CHIPS and Science Act, which was signed into law in August of 2022. About $50 billion in private investment was given for semiconductor manufacturing. So what does this have to do with cars? Well, new cars becoming more and more computerized are all tied to semiconductors, which have been experiencing all kinds of constraints, notably in 2023. All automakers need semiconductors, but so do consumer electronics, machine learning, cloud computing, 5G, military devices, medical equipment,
Especially
and
with
robotics.
AI now too.
When one component has so much demand but restrained supply, it's naturally going to drive up prices.
Right.
Funnily enough, it's reported that the global semiconductor shortage is largely thanks to the auto industry. This is why in 2024, Elon Musk diverted chips away from Tesla to xAI. They're just too valuable. But
this one analytics settings error cost a company $1.5 million. I don't want it to.
Something still doesn't quite add up. Semiconductors are still in high demand, especially with the AI boom, but things seem to have settled away from a crisis. The price of aluminum has also fallen substantially, and steel has dropped to its lowest point in years. The pandemic caused the perfect storm to increase the price of cars,
but now they're the same.
Why have they stayed high?
Because Americans are supporting the price. And I don't mean like they're like, oh, we're for it. I mean, they're supporting it. I mean, people are still buying vehicles at these outrageous prices. And when you do that, it's like scalpers. You're just saying, I'm going to go buy this, and I know that you're more than MSRP, but I want it, and I want it now, right? Like, no patience. So you're willing to pay more.
As it turns out, something very interesting happened post-pandemic. During the pandemic's tight supply chains and chip shortages, dealerships were hit with a low supply, but something interesting happened. Demand for cars was still present, so the price of cars began to shoot up. This explains what we saw in 2021. During all of this, car makers realized something. Having more demand and higher prices is pretty good, so why go back to normal?
Right! This is everything I've been saying for the last 8 minutes.
An executive analyst at
Longer than that, but
iccars.com
8 minutes of
explained
video.
The attitude is that demand is strong enough to not sell lower margin based models and to not spend as much improving the cars year over year.
Well, and if you're a publicly traded company, right, you have to think you have shareholders. Why are you reducing the cost of your item if people are supporting it? You can make more, you can make us more money as your shareholder. That's got to be part of it too, right?
The COVID experience showed both automakers and dealers the upsides related to higher margins and reduced sales.
Right.
And he's right, this lines up with the data. Prices aren't coming down, at least not much.
Sorry to eyelash my eye.
Automakers now, post-pandemic, are keeping lower inventory to inflate demand and profit margins. There seems to be one exception to this in affordable cars, but it's not in favor of the American companies. There's one way some companies have offered cheap cars, even cheap EVs, but even that might be disappearing soon. It's possible auto companies are gripping onto their high prices and profit margins because of the billions they're losing on EVs. After all, without high margins on gas vehicles, the tens of billions...
Well, I think you'll see hybrids start to come more into play, like more and more and more.
...required for battery manufacturing and research are impossible.
They're already big, but I just mean like that will become the mainstream thing.
Ford has been losing tens of thousands for every EV they produce, so it's no wonder cheap EVs seem to be impossible. Then there's General Motors. The American car giant
is that General Motors' actual like headquarters?
General Motors.
Where is that? Where is that? That's in Detroit. Look at this. That's so cool. Are you kidding me? Is it all of them? Or is it just this one? It's all of it's is that all of them? I think it's all connected at the base here. That's cool. What is this? First built in 1973, GM acquired the Renaissance Center in 1996. In 2004, GM completed a $500 million renovation, including the 5-story Winter Garden, new interior glass circulation ring, and removal of concrete berms on Jefferson Avenue to improve accessibility. In 2018, GM World debuts featuring rotating display space. That's a cool headquarters. That's a really, really cool headquarters. I really like that. Okay, let's go back.
The American car giant just released one of the only affordable EVs under $30,000, but here's the catch. They can only do it with government support and tax credits. The Chevy Equinox lists at $35,000, but only after a $7,500 tax break, putting the real price well above $40,000.
Yeah.
Much of the huge push for EVs came from governments,
Which pushes that average he said earlier closer to that 49, right?
mandating all gas cars be gone or offering subsidies.
Just a showcase of it.
But that too is changing. The EV market has become volatile and governments which pushed for them are now backing out. Trump just ordered the EV subsidies to end, and Germany announced it would end theirs in late 2023 with tightening budgets. Why does this matter? Well, it becomes especially alarming when we look at China. The US has struggled to keep up with China, who regularly produces cheap and affordable cars. In fact, throughout 2023 and 2024, Chinese car prices have been dropping by up to 9%. How are they so much cheaper? Well, the Chinese government has offered support for EVs for a long time, since 2009. Tax breaks for EV development, tax incentives for lower prices.
Okay, but let me ask you a question, right? And not to shoot a shot across the bow here, but if the Chinese government is all for it, and then they can just turn your car off whenever they want, right? I'm just saying, control is control.
Subsidies for trade-ins when upgrading to a new EV. This is expected to increase industry sales by 3 million in 2025 and continue growth in the double digits. They are phasing them out, but unlike the
God, that is such a cool headquarters. I really like that.
For other Western countries, it's a very slow process, with subsidies slowly decreasing over the course of many years. They're likely to be provided until the end of 2027 if they aren't extended even further. The US market just can't compete with this, but it goes beyond government support. It goes beyond EVs too. Chinese manufacturers are notably efficient and try to keep as much of production in-house as possible.
How are they notably efficient?
With less reliance on suppliers. They lose more money early in production, but as things ramp up, they quickly reach economies of scale where costs are spread across more units. US companies tend to try and achieve profits in the short term and have much higher labor costs.
It's true.
Yet there's still one unanswered question.
It's true.
If cars are so
What up, gamer?
unaffordable, how are people buying them? And it's not like housing where investors purchase and rent them out.
Yeah, because people are buying cars now, and they're like, oh, I'm okay paying $1,000 a month for a car. Are you stupid? Like, no. Sorry, hold on. You're not paying $1,000 a month for a car, and if you are, like, pay that thing off or get a different car. You don't need that.
How are prices still so high if people can't actually buy them?
And here's the thing too, is I fall into this trap. I fall into this trap of like, well, if I buy used and it breaks down, then I've got to repair it and all these things, right? Yes, but let's say you have $3,000 in a repair in a year, right? We'll call it $3,600 to make it easy. Divide that by 12. That's not a heavy repair bill. Like $300 a month. Like that's not $300 a month. If your car payment was $200, then you're paying $500. You know, if your car payment was $300, and then you have a $3,000 repair bill or $3,600 repair bill, well, then your car payment was $600 for the month on average. But that still gives you the flexibility when you don't have the car payment to save for those moments or use that money on something else. People just don't like that.
Well, technically, they aren't. Beneath all of
I
the
missed that.
investors purchase and rent them out, how are prices still so high if people can't actually buy them? Well, technically, they aren't. Beneath all of this is another epidemic that's hurting buyers and creating the real car bubble.
The debt trap.
Hey, it's Cosmo Solutions 8, and I'm so excited to announce that we are rolling.
If you think about it, what's like one of the best smells? Getting into a new car. That brand new car smell. and it smells wonderful for about 2 months till that first payment comes in. And then you're like, that smells a little bit different. And you think, wow, I'm riding this wave, right? And that's what you do. You ride this wave, and then the wave ends up settling down a couple months later, and now you have more bills coming out, and you're like, well, I like my car, but now I'm on a car payment. I'm not saying all this like I won't ever go on a car payment again. I mean, unless I'm gonna say when, when my streaming and YouTube and content creation, kicks off, and I want to go buy my wife a nice car in cash. Like, I'm just saying that that's a problem. Like, these are the problems, right? Like, we fall into these traps. I'm human. I do it too. I do it because I'm like, oh, the 5080 came out. Let me just go buy that. I don't need it. I don't need it. Actually, that was one of my biggest issues. Is I thought, well, when I stream, I'm actually maxing out my 3080. I could go buy a 5080 in a couple of months, or I have a PC downstairs. I could go buy a used 3070 and just build a stream PC and then just rock my 3080 for about 3 more years. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's just like, it's not the most convenient thing to do. It's not just popping a GPU out and popping one in, but it's like there are options and there are cheaper options. So yeah, we're gonna watch this full sponsorship because here's the thing. I don't want anyone coming in here and saying, oh, you're reacting and then you're skipping their ads or you're using ad blocker. No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. These people are getting paid, and as you watch the video, I want you to go like and subscribe to them so they can continue to get paid. We only have about 30 seconds left on the ad. I have to stop drinking Red Bulls. I just love the flavor of them. I don't drink them every day, but every time I drink carbonation, I just get this like, I got a burp feeling. It happened to me like five times in this video alone. All right, 10 seconds. 10 seconds on this ad. And 10 seconds, I'm going to pause it. In 10 seconds to say, please like and subscribe, y'all. Whether on YouTube, come over to the Twitch, give me a follow. We're so close to hitting that 50 subscriber mark. You can help the snowball grow and roll. You can help it grow, and we can continue on this path together. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Back into it. Okay, chapter 3.
Bubble.
The debt trap.
Americans are in a debt crisis.
Yeah.
More and more people are buried in it, be it credit card debt, mortgages, student loans, buy now.
Y'all need a budget. Y'all need a budget, and here's why you need a budget. You ready? Because he's going to talk about how we continue to leverage ourselves payment to payment. When you have a budget and you go to the store, it regularly doesn't matter what things cost anymore, right? And I know that sounds like, oh, like, you're so out of touch, etc. I'm not saying that. I mean, everyone's budget is different, but after you deploy it for a couple of months, a couple of years, I've been on the same budget with my wife now for 3 years. We are in a groove. We are in a system. And when we go to the store, in the back of our head, we know exactly how much we have for groceries this month, how much roughly we've spent, and every 2 weeks, this is no joke. Every 2 weeks, I don't print the statement. I literally print the transaction list from our credit card, and we sit down together and we go through line by line, categorizing each item. Yes, it's manual. Yes, it takes time, but I'm telling you, where the path we are on and where we are going is going to be huge, and we are going to surpass people because of this budget and our aligned goals. I wanted a new truck, and she was like, it's not in the budget. She kept me in balance, right? Like, those are the things that are going to come up, and you have to reshift. We are paying off $55,000 in student loans. And the only way we can do it is a budget and keeping ourselves accountable. Not only to it's the budget, but our path forward for ourselves and our family. He's gonna talk
I'll
about
pay
this,
later,
guarantee it.
but
Maybe not the budget piece, but he's gonna talk about falling into the debt trap. Oh, I just clicked a button. Hold on. We're right here. I just accidentally clicked a button.
Producers, this plugin
Oh, of course,
helps
we
you
get another
finish your
ad.
tracks way
Hold on, we're
faster.
gonna skip
Check
this one.
out. I'm gonna start with this loop that I made here.
bubble.
Here we go. On my mouse, the back button is 6, and I put that for games a lot. I don't know why. I just did it one day and it worked out. So
Americans
it skips
are
chapters
in a
sometimes.
debt crisis. More and more people are buried in it, be it credit card debt, mortgages, student loans, buy now, pay later, but a huge proportion of it comes from cars, and it's getting worse. For the first time in years, auto debt surpassed student loans as the second largest debt for US citizens. But I don't think that really makes the problem clear. Just look at the data. The debt has risen to almost $1.7 trillion.
That's crazy.
For America. But car sales haven't followed.
Was
this
that a
path.
trillion?
Trillion.
Since 2004, that's a trillion. In 2004.
Dollars just for America. But car sales haven't followed this path at all. They've risen and fallen and don't.
Do you know how many people are under, like, what do they call it, underwater or in their loans, and they're going into negative equity on their next vehicle and they're rolling that over? Jeep Grand Wagoneer is a perfect example. It is 100%. Like, people were buying that vehicle for $120,000 when it was brand new because it was the new thing. And I just talked about this a few moments ago. What are you doing? Don't do that.
Debt at all. This has been a problem for a while, but recently it's become a crisis. With the rising prices, the only way people can afford cars is to finance them with weekly or monthly payments. But prices are so high that...
Do y'all do weekly payments?
To make this even possible for many Americans, the financing options have gotten longer and longer.
Yeah.
Some of them have even...
I won't lie. When I bought my truck, it was $500 a month for 72 months. It was a terrible idea. But I paid it off in 2 years. So, and it's not because I paid it off because I lived in basically a college apartment. I split rent with a roommate. I was doing well in my career, and I had some extra money to where I didn't just waste it or blow it on something else that wasn't needed. I just paid it off.
Been reached 84 months.
But a lot of people plan to do that, and then they don't actually ever do it.
That's 7 years. Some of them have even reached 84 months.
84 months.
7 years. 7 years.
7 years for that Audi that's going to need to be repaired in 3. 7 years for that BMW that's going to need to be repaired in 1. And you know that's true.
To pay off a car.
And hold on. An itch. 7 years. Some people are doing 3 or 4 years for cars that are 4 years old. What are you doing?
Remember, that's with interest as well, meaning the amount customers pay off is much more than the actual value of the car, which is already overpriced, which causes another problem. Subprime borrowers, aka low credit score customers, are falling further behind. More and more customers are failing to make car payments,
default.
And the subprime 60-day
and that's going to trickle up.
Delinquency rate, meaning payments that are over 60 days late, has been climbing. In May 2021, it was 2.6%.
The only good thing, and I could be wrong here, and this is probably, I shouldn't probably even say this. The only good thing about that is, like, when it trickles up, it's going to make everything else kind of crash down because vehicles are going to need to be more affordable because they're going to need to be selling them to be able to make back the losses of people not being able to pay off their loans.
But by late 2023, it was over 6%. Car repossessions also rose 28% in August.
What?
2023 compared to the previous year. This might not sound like much. I mean, it's only about...
What does that say about pandemic? Compared to the same month in 2022, according to Cox Automotive, though they remain 7% below pre-pandemic levels. Oh, okay.
The previous year. This might not sound like much. I mean, it's only about 6%. But even a small increase in defaults can have a huge impact.
Right.
When more and more people fail to pay debt, it causes a lot of problems. It was a key factor in the 2008 financial crisis.
Right.
A record number of subprime borrowers defaulted on mortgages, which caused a domino effect. Things are starting to look similar. From 2022, interest rates began to jump, and the dealerships began giving out more and more subprime loans. Some of them soon went bankrupt because of failed payments. Rising debt, rising subprime defaults.
I just want to call that out there.
Because of
some of them soon went bankrupt because of they were not getting paid. That's exactly what I just said.
Failed payments. Rising debt, rising subprime defaults, rising prices. Is this a bubble? Yes, but there is hope. Things aren't quite the same as 2008. For example, the subprime rate appears to be slowly shrinking even though defaults are increasing. And cars, unlike houses, are items that can be sold quickly, but there's still cause for alarm. Things can't continue as they are. Either prices come down, lenders get crushed by bad debt, or buyers keep stretching themselves thinner and thinner until they can't anymore. With these prices, people aren't buying cars, they're borrowing them. This only works as long as the payments keep coming in. But what?
It's so true. I joke with my wife all the time. I mean, we didn't pay for our house in cash, right? Like, we own this one wall, you know? Like, that's what we're doing with our vehicles. Hey, I own the steering wheel.
Happens if they stop? If prices continue to be unstable and debt is rising, it's only a matter of time until something finally breaks. And I don't think we have to wait much longer to find out.
Yeah.
What's funny is that despite these sky-high prices, automakers are losing more money than ever. Check out this video to learn about Ford's $100 billion EV disaster. But until then, I'm Hari, and I'll see you guys on the next one.
Hari is so good. So good. Logically answered. We gotta get him over 1 million subs. So good. And as he was saying at the end there too, like something's gotta break, something's gotta burst. Well, it will, and then that's when you buy. Because it will. And that's the same with the housing market too, right? Like that's why like I mean I'm no economic expert, right? I'm really not. I didn't even like the class when I took it in college. But if Warren Buffett's holding on to a lot of cash, that should give you a sign. Should give you some type of example, right? Like, and that what does he do with all that cash? Well, when everything comes down, then he just gobbles up some more, and then everything rises back up, right? Like, it's the same. It's gonna be the same with the car industry, right? Like, I'm not saying sell your car now because things are high, unless you can sell it and hold on to it for 6 months to a year, and then see what happens, and you can buy one maybe cheaper, or you'll have more money then. But like, if you're looking for a new car, I definitely wouldn't buy it at this exact moment. And always negotiate for 20% less than the listing price. That's what I read. That's what ChatGPT told me anyways. This is a good video. They don't offer 20K cars and then say no one is buying 20K cars. Yeah. The worst, most frustrating part of this and shitification. Cars are lower quality, less durable, but massively more expensive. I think the 2022 F-150 is a perfect example of this. I drive an F-150. I drive a 2016. I bought it in 2019. And people are selling their 2020s, 2021s, and 2022s and buying used 2016s and 17s. Not necessarily 18s and 19s because they had a lot of like cam phaser issues, but this is like very true. This is very true, 100%. People need to support right to repair legislation. These vehicles don't need to be so expensive to repair. All the digital features don't need to be digital. Your Texas Instruments videos show this. Let's look at this one. Hold on. Let's just pop this out into a new tab and search within Texas Instruments. Why a calculator company is worth 186 billion. Well, I think that's the one we need to watch then. Let's go back to the. I drive a 20-year-old Camry with 208,000 miles, and I have no desire for a new car or even a used car because car prices are insane. I watched my Ford dealership mark my mid-grade Hold on, I need to start making sure that you can see this. I watched my Ford dealership mark my mid-grade F-150 from 42,000 to 72,000. When I asked about it, the sales manager got mad and said, "What? You don't want us to be able to put food on our table?" Like I was asking some super personal question. Come to find out, it only went up 7K, but they marked up an additional 23. So no, I don't feel bad for them. I hope they lose their asses on these vehicles. Until you can buy a reliable new entry truck for less than 40K, the market is done. Right here. Car dealerships are not in the business of selling cars. They're in the business of selling loans. The worst possible loans. Don't get a loan from a car dealership. Go to a small credit union near you if you've got good credit. Probably just in general. But I went to CarMax. I bought my truck at CarMax and I was like, "Oh, what's the rate going to be?" They wanted 10%. No. What? I went to a small credit union near me, 4.4. Scam. The weird part is US consumers just pay no matter what corporations do. It's amazing to see every year. I see so many new cars, new models on the road. I wonder how people can afford it. I feel like this is the trap of childhood. Like when you're young and you're in high school and then you are like, the next thing I want to do is get a car, right? I want to get a new car. And then you look at how all these people afford it. They really can't. They're just going monthly to month to month, and a lot of people just don't want to say that they are. These new cars are worth 50% of the price, probably true. Right, the chips costing $2 instead of $1 is the reason cars cost $30,000 more. Each car definitely uses 30K chips. We need to stop saying that the public doesn't like smaller cars / prefers SUVs when this preference has been sold to them thanks to advertising. I'm trying to decide if I agree with that. Do you agree with that? We need to stop saying that the public doesn't like smaller cars, prefers it when its preference is sold to them thanks to advertising. I don't know. I'm indecisive on whether I agree with that or not. Posers have ruined trucks. It wasn't all that long ago that a basic pickup was one of the cheapest vehicles you could buy. Well, that's because it was a basic pickup. I just said at the very beginning that people like luxury vehicles. Luxury isn't always like, "Oh, I've got heated seats." Luxury might just be size. People's families grow, they want size, they need to do things with it. Yes, they might only need to do things once or twice a month, but do you know how valuable that is still? You can still go buy a used truck that has the bare bones for 20K with 120,000 miles on it, and that's still luxury to a lot of Americans. That's still a lot of anybody. That's still luxury. Now you can't get realistic Now you can't realistically get a stripped work truck off the lot for 50 grand. I don't I mean, I'm not in that industry, but I don't know if I believe that. I just can't justify spending that type of money on something I intend to actually work. Does he mean like work in? Unless there's a major shakeup in the industry, I'm just going to keep fixing my 2010 F-150 for the foreseeable future. It just got a new rocker panels, cab corners last year, and the frame's in great shape. Okay. Yeah, but you're probably driving it regularly and working in it. A lot of people aren't like you're dusty, you're dirty, and I'm not saying like you as a person. I'm just saying when you work, you inevitably bring that into your space, right? On the regular, if you're getting in and out of your vehicle, you're just doing that, okay? So like a lot of people don't they're driving theirs to take their kid to soccer games, and then they're like, "Oh, I got to go to Lowe's afterward and get mulch, and I need to go get some stuff for my deck or whatever." Like this is what trucks have become now. The vicious cycle that car companies are in, their treatment to consumers isn't great either. Things like data selling to insurance companies, putting in car features behind a recurring payment subscription such as heated seats, faster acceleration, remote start, and against right to repair. This right here, things like no, I don't. I mean, I care about this, but like that's not my biggest issue. Putting in-car features behind reoccurring payment subscriptions, you're garbage if you do this. I will not buy your vehicle if you do that. The reason for the price increases is easy, especially in America. It's the credit markets. In America, there's always a sleazy financial middleman. Well, because one market makes another, and then that market makes another, and then that market makes another, and then ultimately, like, you go down to the guy trying to capitalize. Well, everyone's trying to capitalize, but the lowest of the barrel, right? It's not just a car bubble, it's an everything bubble. We are getting to a point where money doesn't even work anymore. Everyone's in debt. Right here. Everyone's in debt. What are we going to do? Send everyone to jail? Why does that have anything to do with it? Prices make no sense. Wages are trash and the whole system is broken. If I were a single 20-year-old, I'd just max my credit cards and never pay. This is terrible advice. This is terrible advice. What's the point? This person has a negative outlook on life. If prices are going to be this outrageous, just don't pay. If you're willing to write all these loans, it's your loss, not mine. Yeah, right here. I feel like this gives you a good personality of this individual right here. This is a like 7 years later, it'll be written off and you can still rebuild your credit. I lost my car back in 2022 and I've been trying to get back another. Can't find a good price. I don't care about that comment. That right here, I do agree. It's not just a car bubble, it's an everything bubble. We are getting to the point where money doesn't even work anymore. No, we're getting to a point where your money doesn't work for you because you continue to choose debt. That's the truth. And I know some people, like, you're paying for the choices either of someone else in your family or yourself of 7 years ago, but that doesn't mean that you continue to just dive down that path. Like, you gotta fix it because it's a generational thing. It's no longer just you. If you've got kids, if you've got, I mean, shit, if you've got nieces, nephews, brothers, sisters, like, and if you were to pass first, what are you leaving for them? Not even financially, but what are you leaving as a symbol of what life is like on this earth? Nothing good. Something is very wrong with the US in general. I mean, there's a lot of things right here too, so you should add in here, like, there's some financial things we really need to work on because that's a big, I mean, there's everything we need to work on, but like this, I don't, Massive thing is that people buy a lot that they don't need. Most people who buy an SUV could 100% get away with driving a Honda Civic or a Toyota Camry. I daily drive a Mini Cooper, already small car, and don't have problems with it. Now I'm soon to probably start driving a Miata. I can still drive the Miata daily. Most people just could drive a compact car or sedan. That's true. All right, a couple more. This isn't a brand new Xiaomi, is that how you pronounce it? Electric car, two-seater with 80-mile range for $10,000 in Bogota, Colombia. It's a pretty good deal, sounds like. Better to do maintenance on your car than wasting money into debt. Yes. Up until a certain reason, but yes, 100%. See, this is what I was talking about. 100K for a pickup is downright outrageous. The Jeep Grand Wagoneer base MSRP is like 95K. It was like 120. These are luxury import prices. Yeah, a Jeep is not a luxury import vehicle. Now there are dealers that we are offering 2-for-1 deals on their 2023, 2024 if they can't sell them. If the manufacturers don't cut their greed by half, they're going to go bust though. I'm not the only one saying, oh well, and then the U.S. economy will probably buy them back out. This right here, last one. Prices won't go down until people stop buying these overpriced and unreliable cars with future money they don't have. That's the recap right there. That's the recap. All right, y'all, that covers it for the stream today. I was gonna play games, but honestly, I just enjoyed doing these reacts. These are really good. These channels are amazing. Honestly, we found a new one today. What was the new one? Fern. Check out Fern, 3.38 million subscribers, 75 videos, millions of views. And then Logically Answered. I'm on this Texas Instruments one, which I will open and then get out of the search so you can see their whole page. But they have some really, really good videos. So almost 1 million subscribers. All right, that's it for me today. Thanks so much, everybody. I really appreciate you being here. I've got to go. Got a doctor's appointment. Got to go let the puppy out before I go. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Be blessed. And yeah, just have a good one. Look on the positive side, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate you. Catch you in the next one.